NHL Insiders had said what the Leafs are planning on doing at deadline, and the Edmonton Oilers are looking to add a top six forward with a couple names coming out. I'll get into that later on this episode, but before I start, I just wanted to say to the 80% of you guys that aren't subscribed, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. We'll be here all season long giving you updates from all around the league. But with that, let's hop straight into the first topic today, which is Leafs now open to moving their first rounder. Now, this did come on Elliot Friedman and Jeff Merrick talking on 32 Thoughts, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are open to trading away their first round pick in the 2024 NHL draft to improve their club. But simply trading away for one rental player like the Calgary Flames defenseman Chris Tanev may not be enough. They do continue on to say ultimately they are prepared to do it, but what they are trying to figure out is if they could use it to pack a bit more of a punch than just a first round pick for a rental, Freeman says. For example, when they were trying to get Chris Tanev and Nikita Zadorov from Calgary, I believe the first round pick was in there and in play. They were prepared to do it for two players and see if they could sign them. Now, this is quite big information coming out from Elliot Freeman and just coming out of Toronto itself. We've seen countless times the Leafs are not looking to move any of their young prospects. They aren't comfortable with moving a first round pick for a complete rental and a guy like Chris Tanev alone. But if they could package Chris Tanev, Jacob Markstrom, Chris Tanev, or Sidorov if he was not traded to Vancouver, or if they can just get two names back in this deal, they would be open to moving this pick. The Leafs don't have a lot of draft capital, especially in the first three rounds for the next 3 years, so using these picks wisely is what Toronto should do. It wouldn't surprise me at all in trying to get Tanev from Calgary. The Leafs are thinking, hey, can we get a second player of this? As I was saying, is Noah Hannafin or is it Jacob Markstrom or someone else? I don't necessarily think Calgary is going to do that. They seen with the Canucks when they got Elias Lindholm. They tried to include Tanev into this, and Calgary's like, no, we'd like to move him in a separate deal because we think we can get more. But that's the kind of thing I think Toronto is thinking of. So, like I said, this is big information. If they can go out and get a guy like Jacob Markstrom and a guy like Chris Tanev, this could be massive just for the Leafs in a whole. You upgrade your goalie position. Yes, Ilya Samsonov has been good. Yes, Martin Jones has came in his pinch as a third string goalie and really took over when Samsonov struggled. And yes, Joseph Woll is a guy that will be coming back. But you can go out and acquire a guy like Jacob Markstrom, a guy like Chris Tanev. This bolsters your team. Markstrom wouldn't come in as a rental. Chris Tanev would come in as a rental unless they can re-sign him in the offseason. But bringing these two guys in would help the Leafs' chance at winning a Stanley Cup because the path right now is not looking easy. You have teams like the Edmonton Oilers, the Vancouver Canucks, the Boston Bruins. These teams have aspirations and are looking like legit contenders, and the Leafs are really struggling to put things together. But I think bringing in a defenseman, bringing in a goaltender, as long as you're not overpaying with guys like Fraser Minton, guys like Ethan Cowan, a first and picks, more prospects, whatever it might be. If you can get two of these guys in for first, I think this is a no-brainer. I think it's something that Treliving and Toronto need to look at. So what's your guys' thoughts? Do you think that Treliving should go out and get a guy like Tanev, get a guy like Markstrom? Do you think they should look elsewhere? Maybe a guy like Scott Lawton and Sean Walker from Philadelphia? Let me know down in the comments. But that goes straight into the second topic today, which is the Oilers are looking to add. Now, when you do look at this, LeBron was talking today saying the Oilers are busy having a lot of internal discussion 4 weeks ahead of the trade deadline. Their top priority, from our understanding, is to add a top six forward. The ideal is to upgrade on the second line unit with Leon Draisaitl. He does continue on, and his co-host Darren Dreger said, a key for the Oilers looking to be involved in the market for each position this year. They've done their research on the player market, and they've looked at guys like Sean Walker and Calgary defenseman Chris Tanev. So in this alone, we know that they want to add. They want to add a top six guy, a guy that can play on the wing with a guy like Leon Draisaitl, but they're also looking at multiple other positions. They're not just looking at this and, hey, let's add one player, let's be done there. They're looking at everything they can do. The Oilers are one of the hottest teams in the league right now. Them, the Vancouver Canucks, are looking unstoppable. The Boston Bruins are looking great as well. The Toronto Maple Leafs have looked fine, but I think the Oilers are looking at this hot streak saying, hey, we can go for this. We can go for another cup. Let's go for it. Let's add. We want to upgrade every position. So Darren Dreger was just kind of talking as well. And LeBron did come out and say, first and foremost, looking at a top six forward, names the list include are Jake Gensel of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Jordan Eberle of the Seattle Kraken, and Vladimir Tarsenko of the Ottawa Senators. While names like David Perron and Daniel Sprong, both Detroit Red Wings, are possibilities too, those two, however, would not shake loose if the Red Wings stay in the playoff picture. So you see some of these names that are coming out here, like I said, David Perron, Daniel Sprong, most likely aren't going to be moved. Right now, the Red Wings are looking like a playoff team, and they're not going to look to internally shake things up, especially if they're pushing for this playoff push. But when you really look at this and you see guys like Tarasenko, if you see a guy like Sean Walker, Chris Tanev, you see guys like Jake Gensel, Jordan Eberle, I think the most two realistic forwards on this list would include guys like Jordan Eberle and Vladimir Tarsenko. Obviously, Gensel would be huge at this, is one of the most dynamic wingers in the league, but seeing him getting pride out of Pittsburgh might take a little more than the Oilers are looking when you can bring in a guy like Jordan Eberle, a guy like Vladimir Tarsenko, but I like to focus on Jordan Eberle first. So when you do look at Jordan Eberle, he was a former Edmonton Oiler. He played countless seasons with them before getting moved to the Islanders, and then he did go to Seattle. This year in 46 games, Jordan Eberle has 9 goals, 19 assists for 28 points. Last year at 63 points. Years prior, 44, 33, 40, 37. You see the trend going here that this guy is an offensive player. You can also see that in all these seasons, he was looking at a borderline 20-goal scorer. 20 goals, 21, 16 in just 55 games, 16 in 58 games, 19 in 78, 25 in 81. As I said, this guy is a goal scorer. He can put up points. He's not going to be the most defensive, responsible guy. He won't throw the most hits. He won't block the most shots. But he can come in and produce, especially on the side of a guy like Leon Draisaitl or Connor McDavid when they need a guy like this to kind of plug and play in the lineup. You can play him on the top line, the second line, the middle six, bottom six, whatever it might be. Jordan Eberle is going to produce, and he's going to put up points. Now, like I said, he's going to put up points for you. He's not going to do anything great defensively. He's currently on a 1-year deal at the age of 33, and this 1-year deal is at $5.5 million. But the big thing with this is closer deadline, this will be a smaller cap, so the Oilers won't have to move too much out. You're not looking at this and saying, hey, let's dump a guy like Jack Campbell to get him back in this deal. But I think you can make it work with the cap, and I think he's a guy that the Oilers are going to look at and want to reunite with the Oilers fans. Now, the second guy on this list, as I said, Vladimir Tarsenko. Tarsenko is pretty much about the same. Obviously, he had a couple surgeries, and since then, his goal scoring has dropped quite a bit. In 45 games this year with the Oilers, 13 goals, 20 assists, 33 points the year before, 21 points, 29, 50, 82. But before some of his surgeries, before missing time, this guy was a goal scorer. You could see back from 2015, he had 40 goals, 39 the year after, 33, 33. A little bit of a drop with the 3 and 10 games, 4 and 24, but he did bounce back with the 34 and 25 and 75 games. This guy is going to come in and automatically light it up for the Edmonton Oilers if they do acquire him. I think this is a guy that you can put onto your power play 1, power play 2. He's going to be a tiny bit worse on defense than a guy like Jordan Eberle. Both aren't going to be anyone you rave about defensively, but as I said, you bring in these guys as an offense output, guys that can come in, perform in the playoffs, put up goals for you, and just gel into this top 6. As I said with these guys, Tarasenko does throw a tiny bit more hits, and just about the same in blocks. He's 32 years old, and once again, he's on a $5 million contract. So this is going to be another situation where you don't need to move out a lot. The closer you are to deadline, the less of the cap that will affect. It's a 1-year deal, so you're not going to need to move out a huge contract once again. Jack Campbell to acquire a guy like this. So what's your guys' thoughts on this? Do you think a guy like Jake Gensel is someone the Oilers have to go out and get? Or do you think getting a guy in Tarasenko or Eberle would be the better pitcher? Because then you can use more picks, more prospects to go out and fill out other positions, maybe a backup goaltender, maybe another defenseman. Let me know down in the comments. But with that, let's hop straight in everyone's favorite topic, sort of, that is comment of the day. And the comment of the day comes from Dougie, and he says, frig the Leafs. I thought I'd just throw this in here because I love just, just showing people, the closet Leafs fans that love the Leafs that want to say they don't. I just want to give you a little bit of that there. And I'm sure I'll be saying frig the Leafs too if they end up losing in a game 7 again to Boston, if they blow a 3-1 lead, or if they get knocked out in the first round. But what's your guys' thoughts? As I said, do you think the Leafs need to go out and get 2 guys in this deal? Do you think they should just purely go for a rental or just stand put on with what they have? And who do you think the Oilers' perfect winger is? Who's the perfect defenseman? And what are you willing to give up? Well, that's it for this episode of Hat Trick HQ. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go and hit this like button, subscribe, comment, share this with your friends. We'll be here all season long. But with that, take care.